Hey everyone, you're listening to InfoQuench with Jeff
and Amy,
a podcast with tips to make your life easier.
Covering pop culture, parenting, travel, minimalism, and more.
Hey everybody, and welcome to InfoQuench. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Amy.
And boys, oh boys, we got a doozy of a podcast for you today. Let me tell you.
Yes,
What's it about again?
It's about, what, can't you remember?
Mnemonics?
Mnemonics. See, it was a little trickery there. I was like, couldn't you remember?
Couldn't you remember? And then, why, is there a thing to remember the word mnemonics?
Well, just that.
Is there a mnemonic for that?
No, but mnemonics are, for those who don't know, mnemonics are a device such as a pattern of letters, ideas, or associations that help us remember things. So we've done other episodes on, we did one on acronyms.
Yes, of which I knew maybe two.
So acronyms are where words are made up of the first letter of multiple words, like scuba, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus was one you knew.
That's the one I knew.
An acronym is an example of a mnemonic, but there are lots of different types of mnemonics. There are songs and rhymes and all kinds of things.
Have you always been interested in mnemonics? Or should I say, have you always been interested in learning things in a kind of a shortcut, like easy way sort of thing? You know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, I think mnemonics has just been taught by like various teachers and professors throughout my educational.
Did it originate in the military, perhaps? Does mnemonics? Does any of the mnemonics you have for us this evening have to do with the military?
No, none whatsoever.
I don't. I'm not.
Was that just a random
I'm not going to
guess?
pretend that. Yeah, I was just trying to sound smart. Anyway, okay, let's get to our first mnemonic.
The reason I thought of this is because our son Huxley drew a picture of a rainbow.
Who's 6?
He's 6. Yes, and it was a wonderful rainbow, the best of all rainbows.
The best of all rainbows.
But one of the things I noticed was that the colors in the rainbow were in the correct order. So there's a certain, order of colors that rainbows always show up, the spectrum. And I didn't learn that until, I think, grade 12 physics, that there was a specific order. And I was really surprised that he had just drawn this rainbow and the rainbow colors were in the right order. And I thought, well, maybe it was just a coincidence. But then he sang a song. I can't remember the song. I know the irony. I can't remember the song that he used to remember the rainbow colors, but I remember Roy G. Biv.
Roy G. Biv.
So when I was in a physics class, our teacher taught us Roy G. Biv to remember the order of
red, orange, yellow.
Yes.
Right.
Green, blue, indigo, violet.
Right.
So it got me thinking about mnemonics and how many different memory devices I think we've all picked up through the years.
Well, and let's face it, we're all getting older, and any kind of shortcut, any kind of assistance that we can have to remember things, let's go for it. Yeah, especially me.
I tried to think of some that I knew, just that I had learned throughout my lifetime, and then I started to just do a little bit of research to find some other ones. And some of them I found probably a little bit more complicated to even learn than they are to just remember the actual thing in the first place. Sometimes the mnemonic can be more complicated than the, just remembering whatever it is you're trying to remember. But I tried to just put together a few that I thought were pretty interesting. And I'll start with some that I think a lot of us know, but ones that I know I use and say in my head on a regular basis. Like lefty loosey, righty tighty. Righty tighty.
Yeah. That's a mnemonic?
Yeah, that's a type of mnemonic, right?
Interesting.
So for those of you who aren't aware of this is mind-blowing. This will change your life. When you're trying to loosen something like a light bulb, if you're trying to take a light bulb out, you should turn it to the left, which would be counterclockwise.
This is one for our one of our listeners out there, Jake. You got to learn that one, buddy.
Lefty loosey,
righty tighty, buddy.
I think we may have covered this one in another podcast too. But righty tighty, then it means to turn to the right, or clockwise, tighten something up. Yeah. So if you're thinking about if you're screwing a screw into something.
I think I learned that one when I was like a teenager, just sort of, and it never left me. Like it's easy. It actually comes in handy sometimes because you just get all. Especially if you're in an awkward position trying to tighten a nut or something like that, and it's like, which way do I go? Like, and lefty loosey, righty tighty, you get it right every time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's something I learned later in life.
Mm-hmm.
The same with valves, like when you're opening and closing a valve.
Yeah.
On a pipe. Like the valve should be lined up with the pipe if you want the water to flow.
Right. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
And then if it's perpendicular or straight up or straight down from the pipe, then the valve is closed and cuts off the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a mnemonic. That's just
bonus. Knowledge.
But when I looked up this whole righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, they wanted to put a little bit of a disclaimer. This one website, they said, but you should know that there's certain things that are opposite.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the examples they gave were bike pedals. Because if they undid the opposite way, they would fall off.
Oh, that's true.
Because they automatically have to turn a certain way because you're pedaling the bike.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty smart, actually. Yeah.
I found that fascinating.
That is fascinating.
Here's another mnemonic. See if I'll give you the mnemonic, and that cold's hanging on.
Yeah, it's coughing.
Stay tuned for another round of coughs.
Yeah.
I'll give you the mnemonic, and you tell me if you could think of what it stands for. Have you ever heard "never eat shredded wheat"?
No, I've never heard that.
So that's to remember north, east, south, west. So if you can't think of the order of something, if you look around, like if you're thinking about the order of direction.
Right.
And you go around the clock. It's
wow.
North, east, south, west. Never eat shredded wheat. To me...
Well, it's not fair to shredded wheat, though.
It's not. I think
they could have used like any word for S and W. They chose shredded wheat. I find that fascinating.
I know. I'm surprised that the marketing team at Shredded Wheat weren't up in arms over this. This mnemonic.
I don't get it.
I remember learning that one in school.
Yeah.
I also thought I just thought it was an easy thing to remember. You see northeast, southwest all over the place. So I thought it's just something you kind of knew. But I guess some people need to know. Never eat shredded wheat.
It could have been like never eat stinky wool. You know. Why do they have to pick on shredded wheat? Anyway, go ahead. What's the next one?
What's the next one? Well, this one's a little more complicated. So this may be one of those ones that you're like, it's easier just to remember it.
Probably.
Or look it up when I need to know
or in my case, it'd just be easier just to forget it.
But I remember learning this one in biology, and I never forgot it. It's to remember the order of taxonomy. So.
Okay.
So it's, if you're thinking about all the way down to species, but you start with kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species.
Okay.
Right? So the mnemonic for that is,
what is it?
Kindly professors cannot often fail good students. And then you can remember kingdom all the way down to species in the proper order.
That's a pretty good one, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And it actually makes sense, too. They're not picking on shredded wheat.
I mean, genus and species are usually pretty easy to remember. I mean, they're the ones we're often referring to when we use the Latin name for things. But, family, order, class, those ones can get a little mixed up.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I remember using these in school, especially in biology, but I don't remember them at all now. But there was a really interesting way to remember each one, because it's true. If you do remember the first letter and you kind of have a good idea as to what you learned, then you're going to remember what it was. If you remember, what are the 4 levels of government or whatever, and you can just make your own mnemonic. And then as long as you got the first letter, you should be able to get through all 4.
Right.
And then the next step is remembering exactly what they are. That's the whole studying part that I didn't get,
Well, some of them I think are easier to remember because we use them more often. So this is one that came to mind for daylight savings time. Mm-hmm. When, whenever it's time to change the clocks, we're like, does it go forward or does it go back?
Spring ahead, fall back.
Exactly. Spring ahead, fall back.
Yeah.
So I think probably a lot of people use that and don't really think about it as a mnemonic.
And I would say lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. I think a lot of people know that one as well. But yeah,
yes.
Maybe they didn't know, though, that it was actually called a mnemonic, though.
Oh, there you go.
But that one makes sense. Spring ahead, fall back. Because I do remember people saying do they go ahead or back? And then all you gotta do is remember what season you're in.
Yeah.
Boom.
And if you don't know what season it's in, you probably aren't caring too much about your clocks.
I agree.
This is one that I looked up and learned: stalactites versus stalagmites.
Oh, I do know this one.
So one is spelled with a G, stalagmites, and then one is spelled with a C, stalactites.
Stalactites.
So the one with the G, okay, you know it. So
no, I don't know. I just know that there's something about because it's the way in which they go. Like
right,
stalagmites.
So the protrusions that are like inside a cave.
Yeah, and if it comes down from the cave, then it's a stalagmite, right? Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So if you think about the one with the C in it, stands for ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So comes from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And the one with G grows from the ground.
Grows from the ground, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that one a long time ago. And
I'd never heard that one before, but I'll never forget now.
That's an interesting one.
If I ever get quizzed in a cave, I'll have the
That's
right
the
answer.
thing. Like, when would we ever really need to know that?
I don't know. But that one, probably not so much. This is one I made up myself.
Oh, wow. You made one up yourself?
I did.
Well, let's teach all of our listeners what it is.
When I was in university, I remember just learning about blood vessels.
Mm-hmm.
And there's arteries.
Yeah.
And there are veins.
Yeah.
And to remember that arteries are what carry oxygen-rich blood away from the heart to the rest of the body.
Mm-hmm.
And veins carry blood back to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
I remembered that arteries, in a way, both start with A. So arteries carry blood away from the heart, and veins are the other that go back toward the heart.
So as long as you know one, you know it's not the other. Is that you didn't have anything
That's
for veins?
That's why arterial blood
right?
is such bright red, because it's oxygen-rich blood that's coming away from the heart.
So you didn't have a mnemonic for veins, though. You just had one for arteries.
But then by default, I knew what the veins were because they were the other one.
That makes sense. Yeah, because there's only two. That's a pretty good one. Away. I get that.
Yeah. All right. So that's, it's more, again, how often you're going to use that.
But I wonder, I wonder how often people out there listening use these mnemonics to remember things that they really need to remember, some people just do it naturally. I don't, but you have for studying, right?
Yes.
And I guess I did too for biology. But anyways, let us know. Let us know if you make up your own mnemonics to remember certain things that you need to remember, and let us know what they are.
Yeah, chime in on social media because I'd love to learn a few more of these.
Yeah.
When you're setting the table, a common mnemonic is that your fork goes on your left-hand side because fork and left both have 4 letters.
Oh, interesting.
And spoon and knife both have 5 letters, like right. So they go on the right side of the plate.
I never heard that one before.
But you just really, if you remember where the fork goes, then you know where everything else goes.
I wonder if that's in the, Emily Post kind of, when you're learning your manners and stuff.
Well, and then when you get into salad forks and dinner forks and all that stuff, then it gets a little more complicated.
It is pretty complicated.
But if you've got a fork and a knife, fork goes on the left because it has 4 letters. Like
I understand that there's a right way to do things and stuff, but
or left way.
Is it always correct? Yeah, or is it half left?
One of my pet peeves is when we use American spellings for things.
That happens a lot.
We're Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Our podcast's out of St. John, New Brunswick, and so I like to spell things with proper, I guess, British English.
It would be British, yeah.
Versus, proper American
the monarchy.
Englishes. So, gray is one that I have a hard time remembering. So things like neighbor and color, adding the U.
It's EY, isn't it? Excuse me.
We should spell it in Canada the British way, which is EY.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And AY is
the American.
Is US. So A, American. So when you spell gray with an A, it's American.
It's probably not just that word too. I bet you there are many other words where it's an A, not an E, and you could remember it by just, it's the American way to spell it.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I can't think of one at the moment.
I can't think of it either. I can't think of it either.
Yeah, so we had to take a quick pause there. If you didn't pick up
pause.
on that crazy ring, that's my phone.
Yep.
Anyways, I turned that off and we're back at it with mnemonics. So we covered gray and gray.
Yeah, and I was saying that there may be other words that use an A because it's an American spelling, but we can't think of one.
I can't think of a single
one. If you can, please let us know on our social media. We're lonely on social media. Please say hi.
I know, we're sounding a little desperate.
No, I'm just joking. It does sound that way, but we're not at all.
We just love to hear from you.
We're pretty cool people, We're just pretty independent and stuff,
This one I really liked. It's to remember the Great Lakes.
Oh.
So there's two. One that I found easier to remember was Holmes. So Lake Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. But then I saw another website that used a different phrase because it ordered the lakes from largest to smallest, which might also be useful.
What is the largest? Michigan?
Superior. So if you use the phrase superheroes must eat oats, then you'll have them in the order from largest to smallest. Super being Superior, heroes being Huron, must being Michigan, eat being Erie, and oats being Ontario.
Interesting.
Which would be the smallest.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Do you? Do you really?
It does make you remember. It's not just remembering each lake, it's remembering them in a very, helpful way. Which one's biggest, the smallest. That's pretty cool.
So.
Fascinating.
Have you heard this one before? I before E, except after C or when followed by G.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Maybe I have.
This is one I've said in my head a lot of times.
Okay.
As you get older and you just get used to seeing words, you know how to spell them. But words like does the I become before E in the word peace?
Yeah. That can trip people up pretty easily.
So, or in neighbor.
Yeah.
So I before E, except after C, or when followed by G.
Okay.
So it's always I before E, except for those two cases.
Can you do it again, but just make it a rap? I before E. Come on, do it. I'll do a beatbox.
It's going to be awful.
Come on.
I just can't even.
You can do it. Come on. Just one more try. I before
rap.
E. Right?
How about you just do it? You could do both. The beatbox.
No, I'm doing the beatbox.
All
right. You skip it then. I just thought it would be great entertainment for our listeners.
I before E, except after C, or when followed by G.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
It's pretty cool. You know what? People are going to like that.
Yeah.
Or hate it, one or the other.
Or they're going to laugh at us, but that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
Affect or effect.
Oh, yes.
That can be hard to remember sometimes.
There's a mnemonic for that?
There is. There's a mnemonic for everything, pretty much. Affect, with an A, is a verb. Effect is a noun. So, the mnemonic is raven, which stands for, remember, affect is a verb, effect is a noun.
Jeez, wow. I bet you 10% of the human population know that.
I actually found that one of the ones that was a little more complicated. I just remember affect and effect and what they are.
Oh, that's funny.
You hear with your ear. So if you're thinking about which hear to use, H-E-R-E or H-E-A-R, if you're doing it with your ears...
Yeah.
It's spelled the same way as ear. H-E-A-R. You hear with your ear.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas H-E-R-E is a place.
Yes. Yes. Okay, that's a good one too.
Is it?
I wonder if people are remembering these though and going to be able to put them into, common practice.
Some of them I doubt.
Mm-hmm.
We might need a mnemonic for the mnemonics.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that there are a lot of them. That there's probably hundreds, maybe thousands that we didn't even touch upon.
There is one for remembering pi to 7 decimal places.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
lay it on me.
May I have a large container of coffee? So you have to write out that sentence, and then if you count the amount of letters in each word.
And where they are in the alphabet?
No, just like may has 3 letters. So that's the first. And then I is 1.
I see.
And then have is 4. So that's your 3.14.
See, to me, that would have been brilliant if they would have taken each number and did the letter for where it is in the alphabet. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about? So it's like 3.14.
But it may not have been a word.
No, it's true.
Because it's 3.1415927.
Well, I'm sure that like, mnemonics can be glurby, glibby, glurby, glibs and stuff like that. You'd be able to remember that. You know what I mean?
But if anyone ever put you in a room and they're like, I'm going to kill everybody you know unless you can give me pi to 7 decimal places.
I'll let you live, but kill everybody you know.
Then you could sit down and write down, may I have a large container of coffee? And while they're out getting that, because they think that that's a demand, you can just count all the letters up in each word and you will have pi to 7 decimal places. And they will be amazed. It will be amazing. And thank God they asked you that one question to save the lives of everybody you knew because you had the mnemonic to solve it.
And they let you live.
Do you know the order of the planets from the sun?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure there is a mnemonic for it, though.
If I told you my very energetic mother just served us nachos, could you tell me?
Well, of course I could.
My
Mercury.
Very.
Yeah, the other one.
Venus.
Venus.
Energetic.
Yeah. Earth. Yeah.
Mother.
Yeah. The other M1. Mars.
Just.
Yeah, Jupiter.
Served.
Saturn, yeah.
Us.
Uranus.
Nachos.
Yeah, and Neptune.
Yeah, and good job on not laughing on Uranus.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I try not to laugh on Uranus.
I had to. I had to look up quite a few to find one that didn't have Pluto because Pluto's no longer a planet.
That's right. Pluto is no longer a planet. If there was, I wonder what, that would
keep track of all these planetary changes.
Yeah. Wow.
Red sky at night, sailors delight.
Yes.
Red sky in morning, sailors take warning. This is a concept that's been used for over 2,000 years to predict the weather.
But is that really a mnemonic? Because it's just a saying.
Yeah, but mnemonics, remember, acronyms are when the letters are the first letter of first letter of a word.
Mm-hmm.
But mnemonics can be acronyms, they can be songs or rhymes. Mm-hmm. So
that's
it's a
true.
mnemonic.
Okay.
Same as the whole lefty loosey righty tighty.
Lefty loosey righty tighty. Gotcha.
That makes even a better rap.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that saying's been used for over 2,000 years and it's actually referenced in the New Testament.
Wow. It actually says that in the New Testament? Like it says?
Yeah, apparently in Matthew verse 16, lines 2-3.
Well, I'll be looking that up pronto.
I think Jesus said it.
Wow. Jesus.
According to Wiki.
Okay.
Not according to a Bible.
Right.
The Bible may be able to confirm that for us. So I found that really fascinating because one of the things in just reading about that is that saying is only true. Well, it's not always true. We all know that. But I do often look out and if I see a red sky in the morning, I think, oh, we have a storm coming. And it's because the storm is supposed to be blowing toward you, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And depending on where you are in the earth, whether the prevailing winds, if they're traveling west to east, which is around the mid latitudes, that saying is often true. But if you're in the lower latitudes in either either hemisphere, then it may not even hold true at all. That's just a completely useless phrase.
I imagine sailors have been using it for a long time.
I know. We tend to go to a lot of marine things.
They have a lot of time on their hands, so they're going to come up with stuff like this.
So as I was reading through all of these, and that's kind of the end of my list of mnemonics.
And I have no list, so that's the end of our mnemonics. Unless we can think of some before.
But it wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't hit the mic.
No, I know you really do consistently hit that mic.
I'm going to try to do something that...
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off, but I'm going to try.
Are you going to rap again? Do you need a beatbox?
No.
Oh.
No, but I'm going to... A long time ago when I was in...
Oh, you're doing the McDonald's thing.
How did you know?
I knew it because you get this glimmer in your eye when you're about to do it. You're like, I can do this and no one else can. But my buddy at work, Jason, he can do it.
Jason
and he
can
do it just as fast as you.
And I've met a
or
couple,
faster. Yeah.
Oh, there's a challenge.
I think there's got to be a challenge.
I've met a handful of people who are from my generation who remember this, but when I was in...
I'm going to do my Betty Botter then, after you.
All right.
Okay. Obviously, we have time to kill everybody, so... Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the podcast on mnemonics. Now we're going to just do our little...
Well, their memory...
Our show, we're going to show off with our tongue twisters and stuff. So.
We're still...
Meh. Do you need a beatbox, though, for your McDonald's thing?
I don't think so. I
think
it
3,
it may
2,
throw me off.
1.
I'm still doing the backstory.
Oh.
You're stressing me out.
Okay. Do the backstory.
Right. So, when I was in elementary school...
Yeah.
McDonald's had a marketing campaign, which was brilliant. And what it was you had to memorize their menu. And if you could say it within 30 seconds... you got a Big Mac.
You should just be able, they shouldn't even give you a time limit, as if you could do it, man.
So they printed out their menus on these little cards and in a format that was easy to memorize, I guess.
Yeah.
And I remember taking it away and I memorized it, but I actually never went into the...
You never did that?
I know. I never went into a McDonald's to claim
did.
my free Big Mac. Did he? Did he get it?
I think he did, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have to ask him tonight.
So I'm only going to get one chance at this. So I'm really going to try to... Don't make me laugh.
I won't. Do you want a beatbox, though?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
You thought about it.
But I want you to be... You've got to vouch for me that I don't have anything in front of me that I'm reading.
Oh, just that card that has the whole thing written on it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
I realize it's not nearly as impressive when I'm just doing it over
joking.
the podcast.
It's on your iPad.
Yeah.
Okay. No, she has nothing, and she's about ready to go, and I'll count her down in 3, 2, 1, go.
Big Mac, McDLT, a quarter pounder with cheese, filet of fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, McChicken, and McNuggets, tasty golden French fries, regular and larger sizes, and for salad, chef or garden, chicken salad, oriental, and for breakfast, egg muffin, hot dog cakes, and sausage maybe, omelette, McMuffin, all 3 kinds of Danish hash browns, 2, and for dessert, hot pie, Sundays, 3 varieties, a soft serve cone, 3 kinds of shakes and chocolate chip cookies, and to drink a Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, and orange, drink a Sprite and coffee, and hot chocolate, also apple, orange, and grapefruit juice. I love McDonald's, good time, great taste, and I get this all at one place.
Yeah, girl, good job.
Yeah, now that's the old school McDonald's menu. I know it's a lot different now.
You know the new one, too?
There's like probably sushi and I don't know what there's a bunch of I don't know the new one.
Betty bought her but some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it make my batter bitter. So she bought some butter better than the bitter butter, and she put it in a batter, made her batter better. So it's better that Betty bought her, but a little bit of better butter. Yeah, that's mine.
Oh, that was impressive.
I had to rap it too. I tried to, anyways.
I know.
I tried to get a little like flow going.
I wish our listeners could see your facial expressions and.
Oh yeah!
It really added to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope some of you learned some mnemonics.
Something. Hope we learned something in this podcast.
Or maybe just kind of pick up on some that you use in your daily life and
share them with us.
Yeah, share them with us. And I know as Hux is going through school, he'll probably be learning more. And I know teachers and professors are often teaching them.
Yeah.
And like there's bed maths and all kinds of mathematical ones too.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So let's get them out there and get them shared, and we can like talk about them and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening.
Be sure to visit InfoQuench.com to subscribe and catch up on past episodes.
You can also check out InfoQuench on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Till next time.